Hello. How is everybody? Enjoy your lunch? Cool. My name's Chris, and I'm here to talk to you about the basics of social engineering. Now, the whole premise of this talk is I do not want to talk about microexpressions or psychology or body language or anything like that, because I don't think you need it. Show of hands. How many people in this room are interested in social engineering? Cool, nice. How many people in this room have done some social engineering? Cool, okay. How many people in this room have not done some social engineering but really, really want to? Okay, there's some tentative hands there. Be a bit more prouder with that, but that's cool. Okay. So first of all, I just want to clear up some terminology. Some words I'm obviously going to use, but just in case people don't understand them, I thought I'd go through them. So SE, social engineering, relatively straightforward, I think. CNI, critical national infrastructure. This could be water, this could be power, this could be trains, this could also be airports, which I'll talk about in a bit. OSINT, open source intelligence. This is using things like Google, etc., to find useful pieces of information. Again, I'll talk about that in a bit. Pretext. I'm not going to read this exact wording here, but this is a story. This is a story that you are going to tell your target about why you are potentially supposed to be there. Normally, it's a complete lie, but you need to think about it. And the last one, NDA. Everyone probably here knows about NDAs. If you ask me a question and I say no comment, it's probably because I'm going to reveal some information about a client, and I can't do that. So I'm sorry, and I'll try and answer your question as best as possible, but if I say no comment, there's probably a reason for it. So the first step that I always do is reconnaissance. And I'm going to perform some kind of OSINT, some open source intelligence, against my target. So I will use things like Google Maps, I will use Street View, I'll use their websites, I'll even use their social media website if possible, and look at things. Look at, what does the building look like? Where is it? What's around it? What can I use? What's there? What other facilities are in the area? Really useful bits of information that you can get from OSINT. Definitely worth doing first time round. The next thing I will do is I will actually go probably a week before, day before maybe, and I'll walk round the target. I'll walk around the premises and see what I can see. And things that I'm interested in are, where's the CCTV cameras? Where's security? All those kind of things. Where are the back entrances? Where's the smoking sheds? All really useful things to be able to, normally, outside of the perimeter of the property, that will allow you to interact with staff and get in with them, hopefully. Is it a shared office? So London is a prime example of that. Often there are big buildings, lots of shared offices. One of the great things about shared offices is go and sit in reception. Just sit there. There's normally seats or sofas or something along those lines. Just go and sit in reception and observe. See what is happening. See what's going on around you. When you're in that area or you're walking around the perimeter, what are the staff wearing? How do they dress? Are they wearing suits? Are they wearing smart trousers, smart shirts, but no ties, for example? If so, and this is all pretext dependent, you probably want to match that in some way. Because if you want to blend in, there was no point turning up in a fireman's uniform to a smart office. You're going to stand out. You don't want to stand out, you want to blend in. So look at what they're wearing. They might be a very cool company that just wears jeans and t-shirts. If so, know about it. Wear the same thing. What else do you notice? ID badges. Where do they wear them? Do they have any? They've got them on a lanyard like this. Are they wearing them from their belt? What color are they? Do they have any metal pins on the side of them? So I went to one place, and it's a bit like McDonald's, where they had lots of little badges along the lanyard. And I thought, okay, I need some of those. So I went and got some metal pins and just stuck them randomly on my lanyard. Great. The eye will see that sort of thing and think, ah, he's supposed to be here. He's got some metal pins, metal badges, same as everybody else. He must be one of us. Great, let's let him in. The other thing to be really observant about is when you were there, and I spend an entire day sometimes just watching, when you were there, one of the really key things, and again, this is pretext dependent, when's the busy time? Because coming in and out, tailgating in and out, when it's busy, is really, really easy. But if you wanted to go there in a quiet time, you need to know when that quiet time is. So have a look. So once you've done all that, and you've got all this amazing information about your target, the business or the premises that you're trying to get into, the next thing you need to do is construct your pretext. So this is that lie that you are telling whoever interacts with you, if they interact with you, why you were supposed to be there. It's a lie. That's fine. You're just doing your job. So it's okay. But what I would suggest, if you are just starting to get into social engineering and you're a little bit unsure or a little bit unconfident about it, is I would make your pretext fit your knowledge. So if you've got an IT support background, great. Use that. Make that your pretext. If you've got a support background, or if you're a sysadmin or a DB engineer or anything, whatever it is, whatever your knowledge is that you've got a really strong background in, use that as your pretext if this is the first kind of job that you've ever done. And the reason I say that is guitar players in the room will probably understand this, muscle memory. If you practice something on a guitar over and over and over again, eventually your fingers know it. Your brain doesn't think about it. You're doing the same thing here. Your knowledge is already embedded in the back of your brain, and it comes straight out. So if somebody asks you a question, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm here to fix so-and-so. I'm here to look at the printer. I'm here to look at the network. If you've got that knowledge, those answers will already be in your brain, and you won't be nervous about it, and you won't be hesitant. And that's really, really crucial, because you need to be able to fire back an answer to a question quickly. So use what you've already got in your brain and use that as your pretext. And again, the other reason to doing this is if you shroud a lie in part truth, it becomes believable. Not only believable to the client and the target or the person that you're interacting with, but yourself. You believe it as well. Get your outfit on. So if you are going into a customer who is wearing smart outfits, wear a smart outfit. Again, this is pretext dependent. If you are going somewhere that, or your pretext is saying that you are doing something that is not the same outfit or the same uniform that the client is wearing, and let's say maybe you were going to pretend to be a cleaner, which is a common one. Wear that outfit. Get it on. One of the other things that I do quite a lot as well is talk to myself in the mirror. I know that sounds a little crazy. One of my alter egos when I do social engineering is Leon. I've made up a guy in my mind called Leon. And Leon is an IT network engineer. And so I will sit there in front of a mirror before doing any of this and say, hi, I'm Leon from IT Networks. Come to help you with your networking. Your internet's going slow. And I will sit there and I will repeat that in my mind 5, 10 times. And the reason I do that is because, again, I want that information to come back from my subconscious, and I don't want any hesitation. I could use my real name, but I try not to. The other thing is, if you are going to go in as an IT support engineer, remember your props. So you wouldn't turn up to fix a networking problem without a laptop and a Cat5 cable, right? No. So bring it with you. And whatever other props you need, again, based on that pretext, if you're a cleaner, you wouldn't turn up with a laptop and a Cat5 cable. So think about that. Think about what your story is and your pretext is. Bring things to support it. Because the people that you interact with in that building, in that office, are going to look at those things casually. They will casually glance at those things and go, oh, he's got a laptop and a Cat5 cable. He must be the IT support engineer. Great, let's let him in. And they do. The other thing I'd say is, and I've had this before, excuse me, get there on time. And by that, I mean get there at the time that you want to go in. So if you want to go in at a quiet time, be there at a quiet time. If you want to get there at a busy time, make sure you are there at a busy time. And I'll tell you why I tell you this story. I had to get into an office in Edinburgh. I live out near Bristol. I flew. I flew on the morning. I thought, I can get a 6 o'clock flight, and I can get to Edinburgh before 9 o'clock in the morning. And looking at times, yeah, I should have been able to do that. Unfortunately, EasyJet wasn't particularly reliable on that day, and I got there late, and I had a problem. I wanted to get there at 9 o'clock in the morning and get in there with the busy rush hour traffic. I couldn't do it because I was late. Something that was completely out of my control. Luckily, I was able to try again, so that wasn't too much of a problem. But it can throw you. It can really mess with your mind and the way that you're thinking. So get there at a time that you want to get there. So I'm going to skip a massive bit here, and the massive bit is you actually getting in, because I want you to do that and work that out yourself. But let's assume you're in. And there's a good chance you will be. There's a good chance. So most of the places that I've been into have required no complex pretext story, no complex outfits, uniforms, and literally have just basically tailgated into most places by following these simple rules. So you're in. What happens next? Well, I'll tell you what happens next, and not many people really realize it, but you get this massive adrenaline buzz, and I mean massive. And your hands will shake, and you will not start thinking clearly, and you will not know what to do. You won't know what you're supposed to be there for. So, keep calm. Really calm. And if you can, find a toilet. I'll come to that in a minute. So going back to the OSINT, you know where you are in the building. Relate that to the maps and the designs and the drawings or whatever it is that you saw, and think about where you are. Remind yourself of that. You need to start building a mental map in your brain of where you are, because it's really, really useful. You are supposed to be an employee in somebody else's company. You've probably no idea where the cafe is or anything like that, but you need to pretend that you do. So start building a mental image of the location, of the layout. Look at signs. Look at where the toilets are. I'll come to the toilets. Be observant. None of us do this really, really well. I've done some tests on this with my colleagues, and we are not amazingly observant. This is one of the key things that I would tell anybody to really, really practice. Being more observant. Look at where the signs are. Look at what people are wearing. Look where they're going. Traffic flow inside an office is amazingly useful, but we don't look at it. We should. It helps. So, the toilets. I have another colleague who has a laminated sign that says out of order that he takes with him on social engineering jobs. And the first thing he does, and I do exactly the same thing, is go and hide in the toilets. Because that adrenaline is making you very, very nervous, but also very, very excited. It's best to calm down, because you will give yourself away if you don't. Once that adrenaline has subsided and gone out of your system, the other thing to look for is your escape route, because there's a potential that you might want to get out of here. And if you do find that escape route, what kind of buttons are the exits there? Are they swipe card controlled? That could be an issue if you don't have a swipe card, and you might have to tell somebody out again, but that's fine, you can work on that. Or they're just push button exits. If they're push button exits, brilliant. That's really, really useful, because you can just escape whenever you want by pushing a button. What else do you need to know? So 9 times out of 10, a client will give you a target. A target could be anything. It could be a folder in the CFO's office. It could be their server room. But you need to know where it is. What's the best way, do you think, of finding that target? Let's say I wanted to find out where the server room was. What's the best way of finding that out? Ask somebody, absolutely. Don't be afraid to ask for help. 9 times out of 10, if you are inside a swipe-controlled, accessed area, and you've gone past reception, you've gone past security, nearly everybody that I've come across assumes that you should be there. And if you are supposed to be there because you've bypassed all of these other controls, someone else has done their job. So that's cool. This guy is inside. He's supposed to be here, so that's OK. I can give him help. So don't be afraid to ask for help, because 9 times out of 10, we, as human beings, are very, very helpful. And we hold doors open for people. But we also will tell them things. I went to one customer once, couldn't find the server room, asked somebody where it was. They showed me, but not only did they show me, they went to get their swipe card on the door. It didn't work because they were just a non-IT person. They went round the entire office for me, asking every single person in the office, who's got access to the server room, can I borrow your swipe card? Nobody in there did. So she went to the CFO, took the swipe card off his desk, and came back and opened the server room door for me. So don't be afraid to ask for help, because 9 times out of 10, people will help you. If you manage to sit down at a desk, or a hot desk, or at an empty desk, and you're pretending to fix that IT network issue, engage in colleague-related chit-chat. If somebody is talking about their holidays, or talking about recent pension changes from the company, or anything like that, engage in it, because you're supposed to be there, but it also reinforces that thing that you are supposed to be there as well. This one's an interesting one to explain. Chris Hadnagy, who knows Chris Hadnagy? So I went to his Advanced Practical Social Engineering course last year. And this is one of the things, not the only thing, obviously, but one of the really cool things that he taught me. And I didn't understand it at the time, and now I do. But always leave people better for feeling better for having met you. And the reason for that is, so I went to an airport, and obviously I can't tell you which one in this particular instance, and got into the main offices, and I wanted to plug into the network because that was my target. I walked along, and again, I was being observant. I saw numbers on the desks, and I thought, oh, that's useful. I saw a lady at the very, very end of the office who was obviously in a position of power, authoritative, knew what she was doing. I'm assuming she was somebody important, secretary or something along those lines, but she was powerful. She was in control. So I purposely made myself look lost. And she spotted this, and because people are helpful, she came up to me and she went, are you okay? You're looking a bit lost. And I said, yeah, I am a bit lost. Leon here from the IT networks team. I need to find desk number 1049. Can you help me? Oh, yeah. Hold on a minute. And she literally scurried around the office looking for desk number 1049 for me. So she found it. I plugged into the network. I did all the stuff I needed to do. Brilliant. Thank you very much. But the thing is, I was nice to her, and she was nice to me. So we built a rapport. And then we sat and talked. And what's really, really great about that is I then left that particular area and went somewhere else. But because I'd left her better for feeling better for having met me, it was really, really easy to go back and talk to her again and just engage in chit-chat, because it's again really useful to return back to that new friend because they can help you. But not only that, it builds acceptance from everybody else who's around in the office that you should be there, because I was talking to somebody as if I knew them. So that helps everybody else in that office reinforce the fact mentally that you should be there. Great, that's what you want. So I am going to talk about, and I said I probably wouldn't, I'm going to talk about one piece of psychological related advice. I won't go too deep into it, but frames. When we talk about things, we tend to frame things. The one key thing about framing is, and I would say this in this particular way, don't negate the frame. And by that, I mean, if I tell you not to think about pink elephants, you're probably thinking about pink elephants. Similarly, if you walk up into somewhere and say, hey, it's Leon here from the IT support team, I've come to look at your network, and somebody looks at you a little bit confused or a little bit dodgy, if you then say, don't worry, I'm not here to hack your network, what's the first thing they're going to be thinking? Exactly. Yep, they're thinking, oh, crap, he's here to hack my network. Cool. So you've done it. You're in. You've got the thing you wanted to do. You've got your target. What else do you need to know? So these are just some little tips based on experience. It is really, really scary. It takes, I don't know what it takes something to do this, to overcome the fact that you probably shouldn't be breaking in, essentially, into somewhere. My suggestion would be practice and do it in other ways, in safe ways. But don't worry about it. Nerves are natural. They are a natural thing. Who in this room thinks, let's have some hands actually. Who in this room thinks that at this precise moment in time, I am not nervous? Yeah, you're right, not a single hand. And you're absolutely right. I am dead nervous. But sometimes you just have to do these things. And what's good is the more times you do it, the better you become at it, and the nerves just, I'd say they subside, they don't subside. They're still there, you learn to deal with them. Go and hide in the toilet. This is a very odd piece of advice, I admit, but it really works. Go and sit in that toilet. I don't know how long it will take you, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter. Go and hide in that toilet and let that adrenaline subside out of your body. You will be more successful if you do that. The other thing that I don't think many people really appreciate when they do social engineering is it's absolutely exhausting. You are essentially pretending to be somebody else for an entire day. So not only have you got the adrenaline, which you have a massive spike and then you have a massive low, which drains you, you're then pretending to be someone else. You then have to be really, really observant. You then have to build a mental map of where everything is in this building. You then have to learn where the toilets are. You've got all of this stuff that you have to do in one particular day or maybe over a couple of days. I guarantee you the first couple of times you do it, at the end of the session or the end of the time that you are breaking in, you will be exhausted. It is tiring, really, really tiring. No, really, it is tiring, really, really tiring. So give yourself time to come down after the job. One particular place I went to was a 3.5-hour drive home. It was probably silly of me to drive home after doing that, because I'd been in there an entire day. This was a high-pressure environment where we're talking men with guns. And 3.5-hour drive home after that, not a good idea. I stopped, I had a sleep in a service station. That was a better idea. So be prepared. Add that into your scheduling, your scoping, whatever you want to call it. But it is exhausting. Don't be surprised if you are absolutely knackered at the end of it. So going back to the fear, the other thing that I struggled with is the ethics. Most of us, and I appreciate I'm in a room full of hackers here, most of us have ethics. And most of us have been taught, you can't go into that room, you're not supposed to be there. And that's a very difficult mental barrier to overcome. If you do have that issue, and I definitely did, this is how I get out of it. This is how I tell myself mentally, or convince myself mentally, that it's okay to do this. Tell yourself you're acting. I am acting. My name's Leon. I'm Leon from the IT support team. So that really helps. Still a bit of a struggle mentally, but it helps, definitely helps. So next steps. For those of you that are interested and want to take this a little bit further, read some books. Here's some really, really great suggestions. There's a lovely book by a lady called Amy Cuddy, a book called Presence. Does anybody remember the original Wonder Woman? The TV series? No? Oh, there is somebody. Good. Okay, there is somebody. Good. The original Wonder Woman used to have a pose, and it was basically like that. And Amy talks about how that is mentally reaffirming and gives you confidence. And it is a brilliant book, definitely worth reading. The other one, so charisma is useful in social engineering, obviously. A lovely book by Olivia called The Charisma Myth. Talks to you and helps you develop your own charisma and how to break down your own mental barriers. Brilliant book, really, really worth reading. Ian Mann works for a company called ECSC. If you go and see him, he's in InfoSec at the moment, and if you ask him nicely, he will sign his book for you. Ian has been doing social engineering for 17 years. That's a long time. He's stopped doing it now, and he's mentoring some own guys within his team. He's still a really, really knowledgeable bloke, and he's also a really nice bloke as well. Go and talk to him. He's nice, and his book, his first book and his second book are both really, really interesting. Obviously, I couldn't talk about books without mentioning Chris Hadnagy's book as well. I'm not sure if you know, but Chris had to release 2 versions of his first book. The first version had a picture of Simon Cowell in it. And he got in a lot of trouble because he didn't have permission to use Simon Cowell's picture, unfortunately. And I think they shipped about 1,000 copies, and they had to recall them all. And some people have still got that one. The other thing I suggest you do, same with everything in the world, practice. Practicing social engineering is difficult, but one of the things I would suggest you do is push yourself to do things that you wouldn't necessarily do to build your confidence. And that could be really, really silly things like go and stand outside of a queue of a gig. So if you're in a gig and you're in the queue and there's a massive long line and there's a barrier to guide people, go and stand the other side of it. What happens? Do you get in trouble? No, probably not. You probably get a burly security guard telling you, get back in the line, or something along those lines. But mentally, you've just pushed yourself to be somewhere you're not supposed to be. And that is good practice. So try that sort of thing. The other thing I definitely say is practice being observant. Stupid things. when I came and arrived here, I walked around the premises, it's a bad habit, and I counted how many security cameras there were and where they were pointing. But do that sort of stuff. Have a look around. See what you see. Take note of things. Even going to silly places that you would go to every day. Have a look. Look at where the exit signs are. Have a look at the swipe buttons. Are they swipe buttons to get out? Are they push buttons to get out? Take mental note of that kind of stuff. And that's it. I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you because I first came to B-Sides London in 2010. It's a great community. I didn't know anybody. I turned up on my own and just started talking to people. And what's amazing is that everybody here is always really, really friendly and accepting. So I just wanted to say thank you for that because you really encouraged me in my security career. Any questions?